Shalom, everyone. This week's Torah reading, we are introduced to Bezalel, the great artisan, who was responsible for much of the construction of the Mishkan. One of the fundamental questions raised about Bezalel is, where did he learn the skills that he needed to do the fine artistry for the Mishkan? In fact, it is this question that leads some Bible scholars to suggest that the entire notion of a Mishkan, of this traveling temple that Bnei Yisrael built and took down and carried with them through the desert, is actually not true. Some scholars defend the veracity of the story of the Mishkan by suggesting a very practical answer, and that is that Bezalel and the rest of the Jewish people learned their skills because they had spent so much time in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. After all, Mitzrayim was the most advanced community, was the most advanced civilization in the world, and no doubt the Jewish people who were involved in construction picked up skills necessary that they were able to use in the building of the Mishkan. This is one approach to understanding how it was that there was a person like Bezalel who was able to understand and carry out all the fine details of the building of the Mishkan. But there's another approach as well, approach which is perhaps more uplifting for us. It's hinted at in a midrash in which God tells Moshe that he had chosen Bezalel from the beginning of time. The midrash depicts God showing Moshe a book of generations, a book that lists every single person ever to be born, and Moshe is told that Bezalel was specifically chosen by God to be the one who was going to be the architect, if you will, of the Mishkan. And this midrash points us in a very important direction. And that is that each person is viewed by God as having unique characteristics and unique capabilities. We celebrated a Brit in my community yesterday. And at that Brit, I shared this similar idea. It's an idea which was developed by Rav Kook, who said that before a person is born, God really didn't need them. That their unique capabilities and characteristics, and if you will, combination of life experiences was not needed. But when the person is born, that's a sure sign that their skills and their capabilities are needed to fill an unmet need. That's one of the great joys that we have when we celebrate the birth of a boy or a girl, because we recognize that God is telling us of the great potential that this person has to fill a need in the world that until they came along was left unmet. And that's how it worked for Bezalel as well. And that's how we have a situation where Bezalel was able to come around just at the right time when Bnei Yisrael needed him to fulfill God's mandate of building the Mishkan. It was his unique characteristics, his unique capabilities, perhaps coupled with his training in Mitzrayim and what he picked up there, that enabled God to, with confidence, and Moshe with confidence, to tell Bnei Yisrael that they are going to be able to successfully build the Mishkan. It's quite an uplifting idea when we think about it, because it teaches us that we are here for a reason. And isn't that one of the big questions of life? What are we doing here? Well, we are here apparently, according to this midrash, and based on the teachings of Rav Kook, we are here to fill an unmet need. It's not always easy to understand what that need is, but with confidence we can walk through our days knowing that we have what it takes to succeed. We have what it takes to fill the needs that God sees in the world. And until we came along, those needs went unmet. According to the Hasidim, in order to figure out what our purpose in the world is, they suggest finding the area in life which is most challenging to you, and that is where, according to Hasidic thought, you will have the ability to make the greatest impact. That too is uplifting, because normally we think those areas in life which are most difficult for us, we put aside and we only deal with them when we have to. This teaching reminds us that it's precisely in those areas where we could have the greatest impact. And so as we read this week in Shul, the story of the building of the Mishkan, we should read it remembering that Betzalel came on the scene just when he was needed, and the same is true for us. God has brought us about because he needs us, and he trusts us, and he has faith that together with him, we can make this world better. Shabbat Shalom.